June 25, 1975. Midnight falls across the nation, but the lights of democracy flicker out. Newspapers are silenced, political leaders vanish into prisons without trial. The heartbeat of a free India is instilled under the shadow of emergency. Welcome to episode 5 of the Basic Structure Doctrine, the soul of the Constitution. I am Advocate Amod Bidhuri, and tonight we step into the darkest hours of our republic to answer one vital question. How close did India come to losing its democracy? And what constitutional safeguard pulled us back from the brink? In this session, we will 1. Witness the courtroom drama that unseated a prime minister and triggered the emergency. 2. Explore how civil liberties were crushed and how the 42nd Amendment attempted to rewrite our constitution. 3rd. Meet the judges who, in defiance of censorship and fear, upheld the Basic Structure Doctrine as the last barrier against dictatorship. 4. Relive the landmark Minerva Mills and Minerva Gandhi judgments that resurrected our freedoms. This is more than history. It is a cautionary tale of every citizen, every leader, and every lawyer. Democracy can be extinguished overnight, yet the soul of our constitution endured because a handful of jurists dared to declare some things are beyond political power. Stay with me, the fight for India's freedom begins now. On June 12, 1975, in Indira Gandhi versus Raj Narain, Justice J.L. Sinha held that Prime Minister Indira Gandhi had used the government machinery to win her 1971 election. An act of corrupt practice under Section 123, Subsection 7 of the Representation of People's Act. Her election was invalidated and she was barred from the holding office for 6 years. The verdict split 6-5, shocking the nation. A sitting Prime Minister unseated by the rule of law. Political panic set in. Reasons were misuse of government vehicles and officials, excess campaign expenses beyond legal limits, judicial review of executive conduct even at the highest level. Within 2 weeks, invoking Article 352 on the grounds of internal disturbances, President Amod, on Indira's advice, declared emergency at midnight on June 25, 1975. Democracy was suspended overnight. For 21 months, India lived under emergency. 1. Fundamental rights, Articles 14, 19, 21, 22 suspended. Over 1 lakh political opponents were jailed without trial. Press censorship, editorial lines dictated by officials. Sanjay Gandhi's forced sterilization and slum demolition campaigns were held. At the same time, Parliament rammed through the 42nd Amendment Act, known as the Mini Constitution. It inserted clauses 4 and 5 to Article 368, barring courts from reviewing amendments. Replaced narrower directive principles with all principles in Part 4 under Article 31C. It expanded executive power and extended legislative terms from 5 to 6 years. This amendment sought to make parliamentary will supreme, even above the constitution's core. In April 1976, ADM Jabalpur versus Shivkant Shukla tested the limits of Article 21 under emergency. The Supreme Court, by 4-1 majority, ruled that during emergency, even the right to life and liberty could be suspended. Justice A.N. Ray's majority held that the President's proclamation was absolute. Only Justice H.R. Khanna dissented, warning that stripping all rights leaves no recourse against state abuse. If the right to enforce Article 21 is suspended, then there is no remedy left, wrote Justice Khanna. His dissent cost him the Chief Justice position, but laid the way for future recovery. Even under emergency's shadow, the judiciary sowed seeds of resistance. After emergency, Minerva Gandhi versus Union of India of 1978 expanded Article 21's due process protection, linking it to Article 14 and 19. The court held that any law depriving life or liberty must be just, fair, and reasonable. By reading Articles 14, 19, and 21 as a golden triangle, the judges ensured that personal liberty could never be extinguished by arbitrary power. If you woke tomorrow to find your rights suspended, what would you do? Share your thoughts in comments and let's discuss. With the Janata government's assent in March 1977, emergency laws were repealed. In Indira Gandhi versus Raj Narain, on appeal, the Supreme Court refused to uphold the 39th Amendment, which had tried to save her seat retroactively. citing the Basic Structure Doctrine. Free and fair elections deemed inviolable. Even the will of Parliament could not void that principle. On July 31, 1980, Minerva Mills Limited vs. Union of India struck down key portions of the 42nd Amendment. A 5-judge bench held that unlimited amendment power destroys the Constitution's soul. Limited amending power is itself part of the basic structure. This ruling reaffirmed that fundamental rights and judicial review are non-negotiable pillars of our democracy. The 44th Amendment 1978 formally abolished indefinite emergency, restored Article 20 and 21, and tightened proclamation grounds. In Vaman Rao vs. Union of India of 1981, the court held that the Basic Structure Doctrine applies prospectively, protecting pre-Kishananda laws. Power and check becomes tyranny. India had learned that lesson. Imagine families torn apart at dawn, voices silenced, hope vanished. That was the emergency. Yet, a doctrine born in 1973 proved indestructible. Today, whether in counter-terror laws, pandemic lockdowns, or digital surveillance, the Basic Structure Doctrine remains our constitutional immunity. Guarding against overreach, democracy demands vigilance. Read your constitution, speak out, vote, protest peacefully. Our Basic Structure Doctrine is our shield. Its power rests in your commitment. We have just traveled through one of the darkest, most consequential chapters in Indian history. The emergency of 1975 was not just a political event, it was a constitutional crisis, a moral reckoning, and a movement that tested the very soul of our democracy. But through the silence of censorship and the storm of authoritarianism, the Basic Structure Doctrine stood tall, unshaken, unbending. It was more than a legal principle, it became our constitutional spine, protecting what could not be negotiated: freedom, justice, and dignity. The judges who penned those historical verdicts didn't just interpret the law, they defended the Republic. And it's because of their courage and the spirit of our Constitution that we stand today as a free democracy. As citizens, our responsibility is not to take freedom for granted. The Constitution is not just a document, it's a living promise. A promise that must be protected not just in courts, but in classrooms, in parliament, and in our collective conscience. If this episode moved you, if you felt the weight of what our democracy endured and overcame, then share it, start a conversation. Let no one ever forget how close we came and how our Constitution fought back. Don't forget to subscribe to the next hearing. Hit the bell icon to stay updated, because in our next episode, we will explore how the Basic Structure Doctrine didn't just protect India but went on to inspire democracies around the world. This is Amod Bidhuri. Thank you for standing witness. Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep defending the soul of our Constitution. We will meet again in the next hearing.